Let us start with a prayer. This is on page 180. 180 at the top of page 180 in the book, The Universal Prayers. This prayer is from Shankaracharya's famous hymn, Shivaparada Kshamapana Stotram. He composed two hymns seeking forgiveness, one from Shiva, one from the Divine Mother. This from the prayer to Shiva. Aparada means all our mistakes, big and small. Kshamapana means forgiveness. So seeking forgiveness for everything bad we have done from the Lord Shiva. Very interesting verse. Let us chant. Om Ayurnashyati Pashyatam Pratidinam Yati Kshayam Yauvanam Pratyayanti Gata Punarna Divasa Kalo Jagadbhakshakaha Lakshmi Stoya Taranga Bhanga Chapala Vidyuchalam Jivitam Tasman Mam Sharanagatam Sharanada Vam Rakshadhuna. O Lord Shambho, with the passing of every day, the duration of life is seen to shorten and youth is decaying. The days that are gone do never come back. Verily, time is the devourer of the world. Fortune is as fickle and short-lived as ripples on the surface of water, while life is momentary, like the flash of lightning. Therefore, O thou refuge of all, do thou even now protect me who seek refuge in thee. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. This prayer is very meaningful. Here the devotee is praying to Lord Shiva for forgiveness of everything bad they have done. And the important point in this verse is, everything in this world, in our life, is fleeting. Life itself is fleeting. Today it is there, we don't know tomorrow whether it will be here or not, or somewhere else. And the days that pass by, they never come back. Once one day is gone, it is gone forever, never to come back. Time is the only non-renewable resource. Other resources like paper, food, etc., if you waste, we should not waste anything. If you waste, somehow they can be regenerated to some extent. But if you waste time, it cannot come back. One moment gone in our life is one moment gone forever. That much our life is shorter. Every moment our life is becoming shorter and shorter, remaining days. Looks like a negative view, but it is the truth. The truth is that our lifespan in this life is limited, and why this is being mentioned, to emphasize the importance of using every moment in a positive way, to pray to God, not to waste even one moment in thinking about unnecessary worldly things. They're all distractions. Fill our mind with all kinds of unnecessary thoughts. Pratyayanti gataha divasaha. Gata divasa means days that have gone. Na punaha pratyayanti. They will never come back. Gone forever. What about wealth? Lakshmi. Wealth is also fickle. Today it is not there. Tomorrow everything can be lost. Slowly or gradually or suddenly. Lakshmi, Toya Taranga Bhanga Chapala. Toya means water. Taranga means waves. Chapala means fickle. Like the waves are never constant, they're always moving, they rise and fall. Same way, wealth in our life. Rags to riches and riches to rags. Many people have nothing to start with. They somehow earn a lot of wealth. Some people have a lot of wealth, they lose everything and become homeless people. So it is very unstable, unpredictable. Lakshmi, Toya Taranga Bhanga Chapala. Jivitam, our life is Vidyut Chalam. Vidyut means lightning. Like the flash of a lightning, it is there today, tomorrow it is not there. Therefore, Tasmat, Mam Sharanagatam, me who has taken refuge in him, Sharanada, the giver of refuge. Sharanada means giver of refuge. God is the giver of refuge. Tam Raksha Rakshadhana, please protect me, protect me. Very nice prayer. Nice to chant this prayer every now and then and think about these thoughts. Every moment is precious. Narada, Maharishi Narada in his Bhakti Sutras, he has said, Kshanardhamapi vyartham na nayet. Even half a moment we should not waste. So we should use every moment precious in our life to pray to God. Now let us continue from where we left last time. Yeah, last time I did verse 22, I think.
24, Swamiji.
24 we did. Okay.
Yes.
Very good. This is, in these 14 verses, ending in 31, Arjuna is trying to describe what he was seeing in the cosmic form, revealed by Bhagavan Sri Krishna. So the description of Arjuna, description given by Arjuna of what he was seeing is what we are studying right now. Let us go to verse 25. Damshtra karalani sate mukhani drishtva kala nalasannibhani disho na jane nalabe cha sharma prasida devesha jagannivasa. Addressing the Lord, Devesha, the God of gods, Jagannivasa. Jagannivasa means the abode of all the worlds. All the worlds abide in the Lord. Earlier we saw in the 10th chapter, towards the end, Bhagavan says, Sri Krishna says, by a fraction of my power, Ekam Sena, Stito Jagat. I am staying in the, upholding this world, encompassing this world by a fraction of my power, infinite power. I abide in all and everything. The whole world is contained in him. Jagannivasa will abode of the whole world. And the description, O Lord, Te Mukhani, first line, Te Mukhan, Te means your faces. Mukhani means plural, not one face. Infinite number of faces in the cosmic form. Your faces, Damshtra Kanalani. They are terrifying to look at because of the teeth, the tusks protruding like an elephant tusk. Damshtra means the big teeth that protrude in the Narasimhavatara. You see in the case of the elephant, you see like that. There are so many tusks that are protruding from the cosmic form. Damshtra Karala. Karala means terrifying. Your mouths are terrifying. Your mouth, Mukhani, Damshtrakarani Mukhani, your face. Drishtva, seeing your face. Kalanala Sannibhani, glowing like a fire that consumes everything. Kalanala means all consuming fire of time. When the end of the universe comes, everything is consumed by fire. That is one explanation. That fire is so powerful that nothing is left. So like that, your face is so terrible like that, glowing fire of dissolution. Drishta, seeing that. Disho na jane. Dik means the direction, 10 directions. East, south, north, west, top, below, everything. Disho na jane. I don't even know which is right, which is east, which is west. Ordinarily, in reference to one place where we are, we have the sense of direction. This is east, this is west, and this is north, this is south, like that one. And up and down also we have. That's only in a limited framework that directions can be determined, can be felt. But if you go to outer space, far away from the earth, above, then you are floating in the space. Where is right, where is wrong, where is north, where is south, where is right, where is left, where is top, where is bottom. In relation to earth, we say top and bottom, or right and left. But if you leave this framework and go into the outer space, blank space, where there is no bearing, which is right, which is left, cannot say. In the same way, in relation to this cosmic form which Arjuna is saying, we don't know which is top, which is bottom, which is east, which is west. Dishona Jana, I don't know the directions. Sharma na labhe. Sharma means peace. Many people have this last name Sharma in India. That means they are very peaceful people. Dishona Jane na labhe cha Sharma. So I don't have peace. Sharma na labhe. I'm not experiencing peace. So disturbing is that cosmic form. Prasida Devesha Jagannivasa. O Lord of the universe, abode of the universe, Prasida, please be gracious. Praying. Arjuna is praying to the Lord in showing the cosmic form. Then we go to verse number 26. This description will continue until verse number 31. Arjuna began his description from verse number 15, and the last sloka is 31. Then Bhagavan begins to speak from 32 onwards. So let us see what Arjuna is describing. Verse number 26. Amichatvam dhritarashtrasya putraah sarve sahaiva vanipala sanghai Bhishmo drona sotaputras tathasau Sahasmariyai yodhamukhyai. Ami means plural, these, pronoun, these people. Asau means singular, this person. Ami means all these people, pointing to the people in the cosmic form and around. Amicha Dhritarashtrasya putraha. All these 100 sons of Dhritarashtra, all these sons of Dhritarashtra. Sarve, all sa eva sahaiva avanipala sangai. Avani means, you see the word avani hidden there. Sahaiva avanipala sanga. Avani means earth. Avanipala means one who protects the earth. That is the king. Any king is called Avanipala. Sangha means a group. All these kings, group of kings that are assembled on the Kurukshetra battlefield, that are visible in the cosmic form. Dhritarashtrasya putraha, survey all children of Dhritarashtra and all the groups of kings that have assembled there on the Kurukshetra battlefield. Among them, Bhishma, Drona, Sutaputraha. Bhishma, Drona. Drona is the teacher of all the Pandavas and Kauravas. Pandavas and Kauravas. Sutaputra is Karna. Karna is actually a Pandava, but somehow due to some confusion at birth, he joined the Kaurava. He was one of Kunti's Putra also. Sutaputra Asau means this person. Sukarna, Sutaputraha. Saha Rasmadeirava Yodha Mukhyayi. Yodha means a warrior. Yuddha means war. Yodha means a warrior who fights in the war. Yodha Mukhya means prominent warriors. All these prominent warriors, including those from our side, Saha with Asmadiyahi. Asmadiya means our own. Pandava side also. There are a lot of warriors, kings and other warriors, both on the Pandava side and Kaurava side. All of them, they are there. All those children of Dhritarashtra, together with the hosts of Earth's rulers, Bhishma, Drona, and the charioteer's son, as also leading warriors on our side. So what are they doing? Is explained in next verse. Actually, 26, 27 should be read together. It's one sentence. All of them described here in 26, verse 26. What are they doing? Vishanti, they are entering. That comes in verse number 27. Let us do 27 now. Chant 27. Vaktrānite tvaramāna vishanti damshtra karalani bhayanakani kechid vilagna dasarantaresu sandrishyante churnitairuttamangai. Is irregular meter. All these people described in the verse number 26. Bhishma, Drona, Karna, Dhritarashtra, all these sons, other warriors on both sides, all of them are, what are they doing? You see the word Vishanti in the verse 27, first line. They are entering into the mouth of the cosmic form. What are they? Where are they entering? Vaktrani, te Vaktrani. Te means your faces, not one face. Vaktrani is plural. Your many faces in the cosmic form. And those faces are Damshtra Karalani. They are terrifying due to their tusks. So many tusks coming out of the mouth, so many mouths, and very terrifying, looking frightening, those faces. All these people mentioned earlier, they're all entering. How are they entering? Tvaramana. Tvara means quickly, speedily. Tvaramana means rushing with great speed. This is happening even at this moment in the whole universe. Galaxies themselves are entering into the black holes at very high speed. And the more they approach the black hole, the faster they will go because of the extreme power of gravity of the black hole. It attracts everything. Whatever goes near it, stars and planets and galaxies containing them, everything will enter into it and crushed and becomes one, highly decompressed. Tvaramana Vishanti, all the warriors, Bhishma, Drona, etc., Dhritarashtra, and they're all entering into the frightening mouths of the cosmic form with great speed. Tvaramana means with great speed. Bhayanakani Vaktrani. Those Vaktra means face. All those faces are Bhayanakani means frightening, nothing pleasant to look at. And among them, description is becoming more unpleasant. Among those people who are entering the mouths of the cosmic form, some of them, Kechid, some of them, Vilagna Dashanantareshu. Second line of 27. Kechid Vilagna Dashanantareshu. Dashana means teeth. Dashanantara means the space between the teeth of the cosmic form. You can imagine. There they get crushed. They get crushed between the teeth and with their heads crushed. Churunitai Uttaramanga. Uttamanga means head. Head is called Uttaramanga, the best organ. Uttamanga, the head is the most important organ. Without that, other organs cannot do anything. The heads of all these people who are entering into your cosmic mouths is all getting crushed. Churnitai. Churna means powder. Getting powdered. Dashanantareshu, where between the teeth of the cosmic form. Vilagna, they get stuck there. Not a very pleasant description of what is happening in the cosmic form, what Arjuna is witnessing. And all these people are entering means they are entering their death. That once they enter, that is it. Like anything entering to black hole, never coming back. It's over. Story is over. So all the Dhritarashtra's sons and the kings and warriors assembled on both sides, Bhishma, Drona, etc., they're all entering the cosmic form's mouth. That means they're all entering into the abyss. They are going to perish there. Their death is imminent. What it means is the death of all these people assembled on both sides, Kaurava side, Pandava side, is imminent. Included among them are Bhishma, Drona, Dhritarashtra's 100 sons and everybody. They're all going to die. That's what is the cosmic form is showing to Arjuna. This is going to happen. This is happening. It's already a done deal. All these things are predetermined by the Lord. Who is going to die? Who is going to survive? Not many will survive the Mahabharata war. Most of them will die. And the description of how they are entering with great speed, Tvaramana, you see earlier when the 27. Tvaramana means with great speed they are entering into the cosmic form's mouths. How are they entering? Two examples are given. How these people are entering with great speed into the cosmic form's mouth. One example is in 28. Just like rivers flowing in different directions enter with great speed into the ocean and become one, merge into it. There's no more river individuality left after they merge into the ocean. That is in verse number 28, one example. Second example, how they are entering with great speed is in verse number 29. There they are compared to the moth. In summertime, you may have seen small number of these moths, large number of these small moths. They gather around a light, street light, and they are attracted to the light. They're all rushed towards the light. But when they rush towards the light, if the heat is so much, then they will all die and fall to the ground. That's what's going to happen to all the warriors on Kaurava side, Pandava side, Bhishma, Drona, Dhritarashtra, everybody is going to die. They are entering the cosmic form in great speed. So let us go to verse 28. Yatha nadinam bahavom bhuvegah samudrameva vimukha dravanti tatha tavami naraloka dikira vishanti vaktranya vivijvalanti. You see the word dravanti at the end of the first. Dravanti means they are rushing towards the ocean. Nadinam bahavaha ambuvegaha. All the waters of the rivers. streams of rivers, many of them, Bahavaha, many of them, Samudrameva Abhimukha Dravanti. They are going towards the Samudra, sea or ocean, with great speed. Tatha, in the same way, Ami Naraloka Viraha. Ami means these, plural pronoun, as mentioned in 26. Bhishma, Drona, Karna, Dhritarashtra's son, and all the warriors on Kaurava side, Pandava side. Pandava side also everybody is killed. All the warriors are killed. So, Naraloka Veera. Naraloka Veera means these great heroes of the earth. Naraloka means the earth. They are the greatest warriors on the earth. They are assembled there in the Kurukshetra battlefield. Tava, Ami, Tava means your. Tava, Ami, Vaktrani. Vaktrani comes later in that list. Your faces, not one face, innumerable number of faces cosmic form has. All of them are frightening. And into those innumerable faces, all the people are going and merging with great speed, never to come back. That is the end of their existence. Naraloka Veera, all the warriors of this earth, great warriors. Tava Vaktrani Abhivijvalanti Vaktrani Vishanti. Vishanti is the cognate verb. They are entering where Tava Vaktrani, your faces. Vaktra means face, your faces. Abhivijvalanti, those faces are blazing with great light. You can't even look at them, so bright, blazing. And the same way, how the warriors are entering the faces of the cosmic form is explained with a different example in verse number 29. Yatha pradiptam jalanam patanga vishanti nashaya samriddha vega tavaiva nashaya vishanti loka tavapi vaktrani samriddha vega. Yatha, as, just as, Patangaha. Patanga means small insects, moths. Jalanam pradiptam vishanti. They enter with great speed. Samriddha Vega. At the end of the first line, Samriddha Vega means with great speed they enter. They are attracted to the light. Just as river enter the oceans with great speed, the moth, the flies, the insects enter the light with, go near the light with great speed. Patangaha nashaya vishanti. For their end, nasha means that is their destruction is guaranteed. Jalanam pradiptam jalanam, glowing. Jalanam is glowing faces. Tathaiva, in the same way, nashaya, for their destruction, lokaha, all the beings there, the warriors and everybody standing there, all of them, lokaha, tavapi vaktrani samriddha vega vishanti. For what? Nashaya, for their destruction. Once they enter, that is done, they will come back. Then, how are they entering? Samriddha vega, with great speed. What are they entering? Vaktrani, faces of the cosmic form. All these loka means all the beings. Vishanti, they are entering. This is what Arjuna is saying. That's what he is describing. That means all the Kaurava Pandava, most of the people on both sides, warriors, and all the Kauravas, they are all going to die. It's done. But that's not yet happened in the real world. But that's what's going to happen is being shown in the cosmic form. The cosmic form reveals past, present, and future, everything. What's going to happen in the future is also being shown in the cosmic form. That's why it is so frightening. Now we go to verse number 30. This description is ending in 2 verses. लेलिह्यसे ग्रसमानः समन्तात् लोकान् समग्रान् वदनैर्ज्वलद्भिः तेजोभिरापूर्य जगत्समग्रम् भासस्तवोग्राः प्रतपन्ति विष्णो. Repeatedly, that cosmic form, that Vishwarupa Bhagavan, repeatedly, Lelihyase, you are licking everything into your, putting everything into your mouth. Lelihya means licking. Just like children lick the ice cream cone, enjoying that one, the cosmic form is putting everything into its mouth. Lelihyase, Gasamanaha, swallowing, Gasamanaha. Samantat, from all sides, on all sides. For cosmic form, there is no one side, other side, everything, all 360 degrees it is there. Lokan samagran, all the lokas, all the worlds, all the beings. Samastan lokan. Lokan means being, all the beings. Jwaladbihi vadanaihi, by the glowing faces. Vadana means face. Tejobirafurya, filling the whole world. Jagat samagram jagat. Tejobihi, by your effulgence. Apurya, filling the whole world with your effulgence. Tava bhasaha pratapanti Vishnu. O Vishnu, O Lord, filling the entire universe with luminous energy. Your dreadful radiations are scorching everything. Very difficult to bear that, witness that cosmic form. It's so powerful, so much glowing, everything is entering into it, that everything is being devoured. Later in the 32nd verse, Krishna says, Arjuna asks him, who are you, O Lord? Are you? I thought you were Krishna, my friend. You are the whole universe. You are the Vishwarupa. Who are you? He asked Arjuna. Then in reply, Krishna says, Kalosmi Lokakshayakrat. I am time which devours whole universe. Nothing can survive time. So we go to verse number 31. Finally, Arjuna's description of the cosmic form is coming to an end. It began with verse number 15. Arjuna began his description in verse number 15, and 31, his description is ending. Verse number 31. Akshahi meko bhavanugrarupo namostute deva varaprasida vijñātamiccāmi bhavantamadhyam nahi prajanami tava pravrittim. Arjuna concludes, Bhavan means you, respectful way of addressing somebody, Bhavan. Ordinary way is Tvam. Tvam means Tum in Hindi. Tumi in Bengali. Tvam. But for the cosmic form, you cannot say Tum. You have to use the various respectful form, Bhavan. Bhavan, O Lord. Ko, Kaha. Ko means Kaha. Me Akshahi. Aksha means tell me, who are you? Bhagavan Sri Krishna was not what Arjuna was thinking. He was much more. He was the Lord himself, cosmic form himself. So Arjuna asks, who are you, O Lord? Ugraropaha, the terrible form you are displaying. Krishna was a very pleasant person. Among the Pandavas, he used to mix with them, play with them, eat with them, like a very pleasant friend. But this cosmic form is so terrifying. Who are you? Arjuna asks, is confounded. Bhavan Ugrarupaha, terrifying form. Devavara, the god of gods, the best among all the gods. Devavara, Namostute, I bow down to you. Prasida, please be gracious. Please bestow your grace upon me. Prasida. Vijnatam ichhami bhavantam. Bhavantam means you, accusative case. Bhavantam adyam jnatam vijnatam ichhami. I want to know who you are, the cosmic Lord. Adyam means the cosmic primordial. Primordial beginning, at the beginning of everything what was present. That is primordial, Adyam. Bhavantam Adyam Vijnatam Ichhami. I want to know who you are, the primordial Lord, who you are. Nahi prajanami tava pravrittim. Tava pravritti means, Shankara says, cheshtam, your activities. What the Lord is going to do, devouring all the beings, that means causing their death. Everybody is merging into the Lord at the time of their death. And you created the whole universe. Everything is within you, I can see. Who are you? I want to know. Tava pravrittim na janami. I don't understand your activities. That is Arjuna's request to Bhagavan Sri Krishna in the cosmic form to reveal, to tell him who really he is, the Lord himself. Now, after these verses 15 to 31, 14 verses, where Arjuna describes what he saw, the Lord replies to Arjuna's question. Arjuna's question was, please tell me who you are. Sri Krishna gives a direct reply in 2 words. In the verse number 32. See Bhagavan Avacha. Shri Bhagavan Avacha. Kalosmi loka kshayakrit pravriddho. Lokan samahartumiha pravrittaha. Yute pitva nabhavishyanti sarve. Eva sthita pratyanikesha yodha. Here Bhagavan Sri Krishna says something which astounds Arjuna. Arjuna so far was thinking that he's going to have to kill all the Kauravas, Bhishma, Drona, Dhritarashtra's sons, and everybody is going to kill. How can I kill all these people? I grew up with them. They are my relatives and teachers. How can I kill? That was Arjuna's dilemma. If I kill them, if they die in the war, you will get the kingdom that comes stained with the blood of the Kauravas, which you don't like. Or they may kill us. We don't know what happens in war, who wins, who loses. If they may kill, that means we are finished, no more. So I don't know which is better of these two outcomes. And we don't know before the war happens what happens, who wins, who loses. We cannot tell before the war happens. But in the cosmic form, Sri Krishna is revealing what is going to happen in the future. What is going to happen in the future? All the Kauravas are going to die. They are entering the terrifying mouths of the cosmic form. That is predetermined. The Lord has already taken care of them. They will come in 33. Shri Bhagavan Avacha. Kalosmi. I am time. Other time they say, I am time. What is time? Time devours everything. Time only survives, everything ends in time. Kalosmi loka kshaya krit. Loka means the world. Kshaya means destruction. Krit. One who does, causes destruction of the world. One who destroys the whole world. I am that Kala. Kalosmi loka kshaya krit. Pravriddha. Pravriddha means growing, ever growing. Vriddhim gataha. The Lord, there is no end. He is infinite in all dimensions, ever growing. Lokakrit pravriddha. Then Next line. Lokan samahartumiha pravrittaha. Pravritta means I have begun. I am engaged now. In doing what? Lokan samahartum. To destroy the world. I am wreaking the dissolution of the world. Here I am active, gathering the worlds into me. Everything is going to be merged into the Lord, ending their existence in this world. Lokan samahurtamiha pravrittaha. Ritepitva. This is a very interesting phrase. Ritepitva, without you also, he says Arjuna. Nabhavishanti sarve. Sarve means all these people, they will not be there. Nabhavishat, they will not be there. Ye avastitaha yodhaha. Ye yodhaha, those warriors. Yodha means warriors. All those warriors who are assembled there on the battlefield. Avastita means they are assembled there. Pratyanekeshu. Pratyanekeshu means Pratyanekesham Bhishma Drona Daya in the battlefield. Give me a second. Avastita Pratyanekeshu Anikam Yodaha Yodharaha. Will cease to be. Those warriors who have assembled on the battlefield, both on the Kaurava side and Pandava side, without you, Ritepitva, no one should think we are indispensable. It applies to all of us. Whenever we think I am doing something without me, nobody can run this place, that is ignorance. With or without us, God will do universal go on. The world will go on with or without me. If one person is not there, 10 persons will be there to do the work, God's work. He will get his work done. If not by me, through 10 other better people. His work will never stop. Tepitva navavishyanti anikaha. Anikesha means in the armies. Anika means army. Ye pratyanekesha yodhaha avastitaha. Last line. Those warriors who have assembled in the armies, both Kaurava Pandava armies, avastita, they have assembled. Te sarve, all of them, ritepitva nabhavishyanti, they will not be there. That means they are going to end their existence without you also. Sri Krishna is telling Arjuna, don't think that you are indispensable. Arjuna should not think, if I don't kill the people, I can, it's up to me whether to kill or not. No, he has nothing to do. It's all done by the Lord himself. The next verse, 33 verse, is the most important verse in this chapter. We'll study them now. So Sri Krishna says to Arjuna, don't think that you are indispensable. Without you also, all these people who are assembled there in the armies, Pratyanika. Anika means army. In the armies, they will all go out of existence. Nabhavishanti. They will go out of existence. With or without you. Without you. Ritepitva. Now comes the most important verse. In the 11th chapter, a lot of things there, message for us to absorb. Let us do 33. Tasmat tamuttishthayasho labhasva jitva shatrun bhungsvarajyam samriddham mayaivete nihata purvameva nimittamatram bhavasavyasachin. Most important verse. Message there for all of us to follow. What does he say? The Lord said, therefore, tasmat. Therefore means even without you, these people will go out of existence. Don't think that you are the only instrument or that you are indispensable. No. Now that explains that one here. Tasmat tvam uttishta. Therefore, you get up. Uttishta means Arjuna was sitting down, throwing his Gandiva, everything down, and I don't want to fight. Now you say, get up, Arjuna. Things will happen whether you like it or not. If it has to happen with you, it will happen through you. So tasmatum uttishta, get up, O Arjuna. Yasholabhasva, you will gain fame. As a Kshatriya, will gain fame when he defeats the armies. If he is defeated by the opponent, Kshatriya will go to heaven. Either way, the outcome is good for a Kshatriya in a Dharma Yuddha. Yasholabhasva, gain fame. Shatrun jitva, conquering the enemies. Shatrun jitva. Samruddham rajyam bhungshva. Bhungshva means you enjoy. You enjoy. Bhungshva means you enjoy what? Samruddham rajyam, this vast kingdom. Yasholabhasva, you will gain fame, you will win in this war, and you will enjoy the vast kingdom. Just Sri Krishna is saying, that has not happened yet in real actual world, but it's what's going to happen. Sri Krishna is telling Arjuna what's going to happen. And the next line is very interesting. Mayai nihataha purvameva. Purvameva means already. Maya eva, by me alone. Ete sarve nihataha. All these people have been killed. Nihata means have been killed. See what a statement Bhagavan Sri Krishna is saying to Arjuna. We think we are going to win, ever going to do this, we are not going, I won't do this, I will do this. We are thinking like that. No such thing. Lord will get his work done with or without me. No one should feel that is indispensable, that is the only person who can do this one. No such thing. If it is Lord's will, it will happen with or without me. Maya eva, by me alone. Who is saying? The Lord is saying. Ete sarve, these other people who are mentioned in the earlier shloka, Dhritarashtra's 100 sons, Bhishma, Drona, Karna, all those people, all the warriors from both sides assembled on the battlefield, all of them, Purvameva nihataha, already have been killed. Not this one, already have been killed, and it's not happened, but he's saying it. I have already done it. If God wills, that means it will be done. With or without us. Whether you like it or not, his will be done. Maya vete nihata purvameva. So if Sri Krishna has already killed all of them, past tense he is using, nihataha. Then what's the role of Arjuna? Arjuna is thinking that he has to kill all these enemies in the war, fight with them. Arjuna's role is nimittamatram bhava. Just be the instrument in my hands. Go through the motions. You're not the doer. I am the doer. What is your role? Be an instrument in my hands. If this pen does not work, I have a pen. It's an instrument. I am the writer. If this does not work, I'll put it aside and take another pen. That works. The Lord is the doer. And we are all the humble instruments in his hand. If this instrument does not work, you think Gita class will stop. Some other better instrument will come and do this same work. Nothing will stop. So no one should feel that I am the doer. If I don't do this, will not happen. No such thing. The Lord has done everything. In the past, Maya Purvameva, already, Ete Sarve Nihataha, all these people have been killed. What a fantastic statement, significant statement Krishna is giving. It's a revelation. So what is our role? Nimittamatram bhava, just be the instrument and go through the motions. As a servant of the Lord, as an instrument in his hands, as a devotee, you do all your work. Don't think that you are the doer. Earlier we saw the word, last word, Savya Sachin. Savya means left side. Savya Sachin means with the left hand, Vamenapi hastena sharanam kshepat Savya Sachin. He could release his arrow with the left hand as efficiently as he could release the arrow with his right hand. That means he was ambidextrous. Ambidextrous means a person who has is equally capable of performing any task with equal efficiency with both hands. Most of us are one-sided, right hand or left hand. I cannot write with my left hand. But Arjuna had that rare ability of being able to discharge arrows with perfect accuracy. His arrows never failed to reach the target. Infallible arrow. With both hands, Sabyasacha. So that's a very great compliment to Arjuna. Sri Krishna is giving. Nimitta matram bhava, be an instrument in my hands. I have already done all this. Everything has already happened. Not that they are going to happen. But in the real world, we are seeing only the present moment. We are not seeing able to see the next moment or tomorrow what happens. Bhagwan knows all the three times. He knows. So he says, Arjuna, you are not the doer. You are only an instrument in my hands. I have already done all these things. Everything has been decided. Everything has been done. Niyata apurvameva already. So what does this mean is, we should not think that we are the doers, which is normally what most people do. I am the doer. I do this, I do this. That is due to ignorance. I means, and there are two ways of understanding this one. I means a servant of the Lord, devotee of the Lord, child of the Lord. I am only an instrument. He is the doer. One way. Second way to understand is Jnani's point of view. Jnani also says, I am not the doer. So let us go back a little bit to chapter 3, verse number 27. Who is the doer? Question is answered there. Also, chapter 5, verse 8 and 9, who is the doer is answered. Two different answers are given. So 3:27 first, very important verse. There Bhagavan Sri Krishna says, Prakrite kriyamanani gunai karmani sarvashaha ahankara vimodhatma karta aham iti manyate. Sri Krishna uses very strong language there. Ahankara vimodhatma, a foolish and egotistic person. Such a person who is a foolish and egotistic, saha aham karta iti manyate, thinks that he is a doer. Aham karta. मैं करता हूं, कर्तापन, doership. Ordinary person thinks I am the doer. If I don't do, this will not happen. That's what most people think. That Sri Krishna says is the sign of foolishness. Ahankara vimodhatma karta hamite manyate. Then who is doing? Action is happening through me. Then who is the doer? He says in the first line, 3:27. Prakritehe gunaihi sarvani sarvasha karmani. Prakritehe kriyamanani. All the actions, sarvani karmani kriyamanani, are being done by whom? Prakritehe gunaihi, by the gunas of Prakriti. Prakriti is guna, instrumental case. Prakritehe gunaihi. By the gunas of Prakriti, all actions are happening. A foolish and egotistic person thinks I am the doer. So here we have to understand the significance of this word. Very important, wearing it as on our daily activities. Prakriti's guna means all the parts of nature. Prakriti has three components, sattva, rajas, and tamas, and they make up all the nature, Prakriti. Our bodies, sense organs, mind, everything is a part of Prakriti. And who are we then? We are the indwelling spirit, Atma. So Jnani never says, I am the doer. And he does all the actions. So all the actions are happening at the body, mind, sense organ, sense object level. If a person who thinks that he is the body, mind, sense organs, he is a foolish person. So, ahankara vimodhatma karta miti manyate. So the doer is actually the Prakriti, the parts of Prakriti, which has formed our bodies and minds. We are not that. We have the body, we are not the body. You are the Atman. That is true knowledge, Atma Jnana. So a person who claims that he is a body, he is a doer, does not know what he is talking about. Now we go to verse number, chapter 9, verse number 5 and what the shloka, how does it begin? Naiva kinchit karomi iti. Naiva kinchit karomi iti comes in chapter 5. Chapter 5, I'll give the exact number. Verse number remember this. Let me give this exact shloka number. So you can go to the shloka in your book. Naiva kinchit karomi iti. Chapter 5, verse number 8.
Yeah.
Chapter 5, verse number 8. There, the Jnani says, what does the Jnani think about the work, whether he's doing it or not? In these two verses, he says, Naiva kinchit karomiti yukto manyeta tattvavit pashyan shrunvan sprishan jigran ashnan gachan swapan swasan pralapan visrajan. Grinhan. Permission, nimission, nahi. These 13 activities are mentioned there. And all the activities, these are only examples. Then Jnani says, Naiva kinchit karomi, he's doing all these things. He is saying passion, he is saying, he is eating, he is walking, he is talking, doing all the things that everybody does. Yet he says, I am not the doer. Naiva kinchit karomi. Jnani's assertion. But she asked him, sir, you are doing all these activities, he's also drinking water. And he says, I'm not doing anything. Like Vyasa said, he ate a lot of food. He said, I didn't eat anything. You remember that story. So if you ask the Jnani, you're doing all these things, how can you say you're not the doer? Naiva kinchit karomi, you say how? Then Jnani explains how action is happening through him, but he is not the doer. In the last line of verse number 9, there he says, chapter 5, Indriyani indriyartheshu vartante iti dhare. How this action happens? I'm holding the pen. Who is doing the holding the pen? The hand. Who is telling the hand to hold the pen? The mind. And what's the pen? The sense object. Sense organ, mind is sense organ, hand sense organ, pen sense object. They are interacting. Action is happening. Where is the I? Am I the pen? Is sense object. Am I the hand? No. I have the hand. I'm not the body mind. I'm not the hand. Am I the mind? No, I'm not the mind. I'm the Atman. All this mind, body, sense organ, everything is in the nature, parts of nature. Prakriti gunai. I'm none of these things. I'm the Atma. So I'm not doing anything. Action is happening, but I'm not the doer. That is true knowledge, self-knowledge. Jnani never says I am the doer. Jnani does not have kartapan. Jnani does not have doership. He never says I am the doer. Action is happening through him. Good action is happening, helping other people, teaching everything. Jnani is doing, praying everything. But it's all happening at the Prakriti level, body, mind, sense organ, sense object level. He is the witness. I am the Atman Sakshi. So if you say that I am the doer, we are telling that I am the body, mind, I am the doer. I am not the body. That's the height of ignorance to think that I am the body. It's all part of Prakriti. Therefore, a devotee also does not have kartapan. What is the devotee thinks that Lord is the doer, I am only instrument. Is another way to deal with this one. Jnani says I am not the doer because I am not the body, mind, sense organ. Bhakta says I am not the doer because God is the doer, I am only the instrument. He also cannot say I am the doer. That's what Sri Krishna is saying to Arjuna in 11:33. Nimitta matram bhava mayavete nihata purameva. By me alone, all these people have been done. The result is already done, determined, predetermined. You be the instrument, you're not the doer. So this is what Sri Ramakrishna used to teach. He used to say, there was a very famous song which he was fond of singing. There it says, "O Divine Mother, you are the doer of all the actions. I think I'm the doer. People think I'm the doer. They are ignorant people. Sakali tumari इच्छा मोए तर तुमी তোমার কর্ম তুমি করো মা লোকে বলে করি আমি সকলি তোমার ইচ্ছা O Divine Mother, everything happens according to your will, ichha. Loke bole kori ami. People like us, we don't know the truth. We think we are the doers. We think I'm the doer. It's not the truth. We are instruments. But this, to get this attitude, I'm only instrument, God is doer, it is not easy because the ego comes in the way. Ego says, I'm the doer. Identifying oneself with the body and the mind. So we have to rise above this body-mind level. Then only we can say, God, the doer, I'm the instrument. So that is what this verse number 33 is saying here. Bhagavan says, everything is happening, has happened according to my will. Maya eva purvameva, already there. Ete sarve nihataha. Ete sarve means all these people mentioned earlier. Bhishma, Drona, Dhritarashtra's son, and all the warriors on either side are all going to be killed. They have already been killed. Past tense, Sri Krishna uses that. That means it is done. Arjuna does not know that one. He is thinking that he is going to kill all these people. So to Arjuna, Sri Krishna says, Nimitta matram bhavasavvyasachin. Just be an instrument in my hands. So we should also think like that. I am not the doer, Lord is the doer. That's one possibility. But if I cannot do that one, I still have a feeling of being the doer, strong feeling is there. I'm the doer, can't give it up so easily. Let it be there. But I'm the doer as only an instrument, or even better than that one, I'm the doer, but I'm doing it as an offering, as a service to the Lord. That's why Sri Krishna says many times in the Gita, whatever you do, offer it to me. Do it as worship, do it as seva. Many places Sri Krishna says in the Gita, you may think you are the doer, it's okay for the time being, because you cannot give up the ego so easily, let it be there. But modify that by saying that you are the doer, but you only you are doing it as an offering, as worship, as service of the Lord. As a dasa, servant, I am serving the Lord through all my actions. As an instrument, I am serving as an instrument, he is the doer. And I am doing everything, I am offering everything to God. This is what Sri Krishna says in verse number 330, 927, 1857, many places. Verse number 330, which we studied, chapter 3, verse 30, Bhagavan Sri Krishna says, Mai sarvani karmani samyasya, dedicating all actions to me, sarvani karmani mai samyasya. So we do all the actions, we may think we are the doer, but we should think that we are doing it as an offering to the Lord. Why should we offer? Not that he needs our work. We offer to give up our doership, give up our attachment to the work. Giving means giving up attachment to that object which we give. The same thing we studied in 927, 2 chapters before, chapter 9, verse 27. Sri Krishna says, do everything as an offering to me, whatever you do. Yat karoshi yadashnasi, yad juhoshi dadasi, yat tapasyasi kaunteya, tat kurusha madarpanam. O kaunteya, whatever you do, including eating, yadashnasi, other things, do it as an offering to me. Tadarpanam, madarpanam kuru, tat kurushva. So this is verse number 33, very important message. We have to think about it. A lot of reflection is needed to understand this clearly. So we'll stop here at 33. and then continue with the chapter 34 onwards next time by the grace of God. Let me say the closing prayer. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah Sarve Santu Niramayah Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kaschid Dukkha Bhag Bhavet. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om. May all be happy. May all be free from diseases and other problems. May all know, realize and practice what is good and noble and dharmic. May no one be subject to misery. Om peace. May there be peace and joy in our hearts. May there be peace and harmony amongst all beings. May there be peace everywhere in nature. Harihi Om Tat Sat. Sarvam Sri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu. We didn't have time for questions. If you like any urgent question, if you have, you can ask me now.
Can I ask Swamiji? I have heard that in other Swamijis say that Sri Krishna is the main God, and Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh are the ones that he has created in different worlds and different universes. Is that because I grew up knowing Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh, and Krishna is the 8th avatar of Vishnu. So could you please help us understand that?
Actually, they're all one. Brahma, Vishnu, Maheshwara, Krishna, and all the deities we worship, they're all one reality, ultimate reality called Brahman in Vedanta, in the Upanishads. Who created whom, who came first, who came last, these are all in the Puranas, and we cannot take them literally. We don't know how things happen. All are projections, manifestations of Brahman. Krishna, Vishnu, Shiva, Brahma, the creator, they're all created beings. The only reality is Brahman, and all these are his various forms and manifestations.
And the other thing was, if Sri Krishna is the doer of everything, then if something bad happens, we can blame it on him because he's saying he's the doer and we don't have free will. So don't they contradict free will versus doership?
That is answered by Sri Ramakrishna with a simple example. Completely realized people who think they are Brahman, they have no free will. Because they have no individual will. Everything is God's will for them. Completely ignorant people, they think total I can do everything, I do everything. So both positions are not applicable to us. I can't be a Jnani says I'm not the doer. I'm not reached that stage yet. And I don't want to be a most foolish person saying I'm the doer, I'm the doer. This is what Sri Krishna says in 327. So where do I stand? For people like us, Sri Ramakrishna explains what attitude we should take towards work. There are two examples. One is how much freedom we have, free will we have. Not 100% free will nobody has. We can't do everything we want to do. We do have some free will. That is explained by the example of a cow being tied to a post with a 10-foot long rope. Within the 10-foot radius circle, it has whatever freedom it wants to eat all the grass or simply want to sit down there and move about, it has some freedom. But beyond 10 foot, it cannot go. So we all have limited ability because within a certain small circle, we have some freedom. At least that's what we think. And the other point is for a Jnani who has realized his true nature as Brahman, there is no free will. Only one will is there, that's God's will. I don't, as an individual, don't have any. I've given up, surrendered my will, merged my will into the Lord's will, only He is there. He is the doer of everything. So wherever we fall in between, we can develop our attitude according to that, our level of advancement in spiritual life. Totally ignorant people, they don't believe in God's will. They say, I'm doing everything. Whatever I want, I can do. That we know is not the truth. from our experience. That's what Sri Krishna says in 327. So we can say, what I should think then. People like me should think I am the doer because I have the strong feeling of body consciousness. But I'm only as a servant, I'm serving the Lord. I'm doing it as an offering to God. As Sri Krishna says, offer everything to me. I'm doing everything as a worship of God. I am still there. I can't give up I so easily. As long as the I is there, body, mind, consciousness is there, so long we can modify our attitude to think either I am a servant, either I am a devotee, either as an instrument I'm doing, but he is I'm offering everything to him. Why we should offer all work to him? As Sri Krishna says, whatever you do, offer it to me. Offering means not to fulfill God's needs, but to give up my attachment to the karma phala. When karma is offered to God, then it is no longer mine. Whatever phala comes, it is up to him, good or bad, success, failure. So those are the attitudes we can take. At this
So like,
level.
I have a question.
be the tied cow, the cow that's tied. Okay, that's a great example. Just one last thing that I just wanted to mention. Swami Vivekananda said, like you were saying earlier, that don't think that we are doing something, that person was going to get the food anyways, whether you gave it to him or not, because he was meant to get it. So I understand. Thank you, Swamiji.
Very good. Thank you all.
Swamiji, one last quick question. So if we assume that everything, or as God says, everything is predestined, then we as ordinary people, we may have an attitude then, why do we do it? Why
should I bother to do anything?
Yeah, why? So we can be passive and say, oh, everything, whatever is predestined will happen. We just sit idle.
I don't do anything.
Huh?
Let God do whatever he wants. Anyhow, he is the doer. He determines everything. That is not a good attitude for at this level. Jnanis can take that attitude.
Right.
I'm not the doer. Whatever God is doing will happen. I have nothing to do. His sense organ, sense object will continue the work, but he is not identifying with the body mind. We are not there yet. Therefore, we have to do self-effort. Sri Krishna places great importance on self-effort. Many times in the Gita, Sri Krishna says, do your duty, niyatam karma kuru. So at this stage, we have to perform our duties.
Right.
I can't say God will do, I will not do anything. That won't work also. You can try.
Anyway,
We have
it was
to
a
do
great session, great teaching, Swamiji.
Until complete knowledge comes or pure devotion comes, you have to keep on doing your duties as worship, as offering, with humility and as a servant.
Do our best.
Very good. All right. Let us continue our study next time. Thank you all for participating. All of you stay well.
Thank you, Swami.